Yeah, man. Got some cool wallpapers
That's
in there.
crazy. Eh? Don't fucking mess with the wallpaper.
Yeah. Oh.
Yo, what the? Yo, we're recording, man.
Oh shit. Okay.
Jesus.
Oh shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 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 Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bluche Bunch. And sorry about the green screen troubles. I've been distracted by Netflix recently. But anyway, thank you so much for all the following and the appreciative comments for the previous video. Means a lot to us, and we're going to get started with another episode. We have with us today another friend of ours, and I'm going to admit him right now.
Look at this. Joining us today is none other than the man who's traveled almost half the world, worked in Ibiza. Not many people can say that. But we're here to talk about something very serious. His experience throughout this whole Corona fiasco. Yeah, he's already been interviewed by the Daily Maverick, but we're gonna get a more personal touch to this story. So, welcome, man.
Thank you for having me. Good morning from the UK.
Good morning, man. I didn't mention your name because I cannot pronounce your last name for my life.
Higginbottom.
There we go.
Don't worry, it's a normal thing. It's very tough.
I see you're growing out as well. You're growing out a little bit.
Yeah, well, I can actually say I started growing it in prison. So yeah.
That's a perfect segue to our topic at hand, eh? So
exactly. Yeah.
So okay, let's pretend like the viewers today have no idea what's happened to you, and we want to get a full in-depth analysis. So go for it, man.
Okay, so we left. I'll go right from the beginning.
Yeah, right
because it's a good place to start. So I left La Roche on the 7th of February. And can you hear me, by the way? And I can't see. Ayan, I can't see you. I'm not sure whether.
Oh wait, maybe I should turn off my.
Wait, can you hear me though?
Oh, I can see you now.
Okay.
Okay, that should be better.
Okay.
I got the green screen flex, but anyway, yes.
Can you see that?
So I left La Roche and I went to South Africa to visit my parents. So they were living there at the time, and I had complications with my visa into the Seychelles, which I was doing my internship in. So it meant my internship was a little bit delayed. So I ended up having 3 weeks holiday in South Africa, which was very nice. And while this was going on in South Africa, yeah, it was amazing. Like, it was visiting vineyards, practicing Iosi's oenology. So that was very nice. It was just a really nice holiday, and things were kind of like, you were keeping up with the news of this coronavirus and everything. But back then, and like Adriano said with on your last show, that it kind of wasn't really taken seriously. So I was chatting to him, and I knew that he had been sent home or sent back to where he was living. So I kind of knew that things were going like a little bit bad, but I thought, okay, that's just Italy. That's fine. The Seychelles will never hit or whatever. So I ended up having, at the end of my 3 weeks holiday, I flew to the Seychelles, and then I had 3 weeks of working there. But it was, it's an island, so it was pretty much just holiday. Although I only had like 1 day off a week, it was pretty chill. And towards the end of that, because I was speaking to some friends in Barcelona, so they were kind of keeping me up with what was happening. And I know that, like with you, things kind of started to go bad at the end of.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah, middle of maybe March, I'd say, beginning of March.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of when I knew Barcelona was sort of going down, so to speak. That's when I knew I had to go, because all of you in Barcelona left, right? All at the same time.
Yeah, pretty much like over the span of maybe 4 or 5 days, everyone was out.
Yeah, that's kind of when I knew that, okay, I kind of need to leave as well. And it's funny because I actually invited some people to the Seychelles, and it's kind of lucky that they didn't come, because things would have gone to shit. But Yeah. So I had, it was on a Tuesday when I found out that I was going to have to be, I had a meeting with HR the next day.
Right.
But I knew that that was basically going to be like, okay, you need to leave. So
Right.
I called my parents and I was like, okay, I need to get out of here. I'm going to come to you. So I booked a flight to South Africa, to Cape Town, and it was flying via Johannesburg. So then the next day, Wednesday, this was the 18th of March, I think. I packed everything. I left 5 a.m. in the morning. I'd finished my job, signed everything, papers all done the day before. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go and see my parents in South Africa and live with them until this kind of blows over. And so I flew with Air Seychelles to Johannesburg. Everything was fine, got on the plane, everything fine. Nothing was said, just normal. And we'd checked the flight restrictions beforehand, saying how it was all based on your travel history rather than your nationality. So for example, if you were in Europe in the past 2 weeks, then you obviously weren't allowed into South Africa. But I hadn't been anywhere in Europe. I had a visa into South Africa. Everything was kind of fine, so to speak.
Right.
So this is kind of when things start to go a little bit downhill. I arrive at Johannesburg and they do the health check and everything. And then I hand my passport in to the immigration officer and she takes one look at British. She takes my passport away and I'm escorted to the immigration sort of area.
No ifs,
where
ands,
there
or
was,
buts.
sorry?
No ifs, ands, or buts. You just took the passport and you belted it.
Yeah, she just saw UK, British, okay, you're out, you're coming with me. So,
Oh, God.
yeah, I know. And I was like trying to explain, I've been nowhere, but she just wasn't having any of it. She just, she didn't listen, which is fair enough. I get she was just doing her job, but I was escorted then to the segregated area where there was like maybe 40 or 50. And this is where the article that you read, Jonathan, the one that you mentioned earlier, this
Yep.
is where that article is based on. So there was loads of people there. One of them was a reporter. There was French people, Malaysian, whatever, and none of them had been anywhere near Europe. They were just traveling through South Africa or to South Africa. And they were blocked because of their nationality rather than where they'd
Even
been.
damn. So
Yeah.
was there anybody that they actually let through is my interest. Because from what I read in the article, like I saw the story about the Kuala Lumpur, the family, which I actually,
Yeah.
that was close to home. So that hit close to heart for me. But was there anybody you saw actually able to enter the country other than, actual South African?
That's the thing where it's not exactly clear. So we were kind of taken off one by one, and people would leave, and then they'd obviously never come back. So we weren't
I
sure
see.
whether they took a flight to another country, which you were allowed to do. You didn't have to go home to your home country. You're allowed to take a connecting flight. But then the risk with that is, well, what if I don't get into that country? So
Right.
I could have gone to maybe Spain, for example, but what's the point? So when people would leave, like I had no idea whether they actually went into South Africa or not. As far as I know, I don't think anybody did, because when my flight left that morning, the law actually changed for me like mid-flight. So if I arrived the day before, fine, I would have been led into South Africa, or even earlier that morning. But the law changed that very day, and then they just like blocked everybody, saying you're not allowed in. So
I can relate to that. Believe it or not, the exact same thing happened to me.
yeah, and where were you?
I was in Brussels, and then I just to relate to that point, I was flying in through Bangkok, and
Yeah.
I arrived at 0046, so 12:46 midnight, and they changed the law regarding the day that I entered, which was March 20th. So if I arrived 45
Crazy.
minutes earlier, I wouldn't have to be quarantined for 2 weeks, which is what happened to me.
Oof.
Oh my God.
Look, I'm not comparing my situation to yours in any sense. Look, I
No,
read
but
the
I
article.
remember the
I
three of
read
us,
the
so Adriano, you, and me, we all compared, saying, "Okay, who's got the worst story?" And then-
Yeah, I think you're on top, then Adriano, and then me and Jenny. But for you, the thing that really freaked me out about your story, and I reread the article about 15 minutes ago, and it said like the health conditions that they were keeping
yeah.
the what, how can I call them, prisoners? They were keeping the prisoners in very strict conditions.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm a prisoner now. Great. I'll put that on my CV. Brilliant.
I'm gonna
Well,
go
no,
ahead and drop the word isolatees.
isolatees.
Yeah,
Prisoners rolls off the tongue better.
Okay.
it does.
Thank you.
But anyways, yeah, I felt that really repulsive how they treated, like, no masks. They didn't even offer hand sanitizers from what I read, or maybe I'm reading that wrong. Can you
No,
elaborate?
so yeah, so it was kind of a bit. I didn't even have time to be scared or worried about anything because it all happened so quickly. So I was in the immigration area, kind of trying to sort this out and be allowed into Cape Town to my connecting flight. And I was there for about 7 hours. And then they said, okay, we're going to take you to the detention center, which is like for the people who normally, under normal circumstances, aren't allowed in because of visa restrictions or they're criminals. And so they're not allowed into South Africa.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, or drugs, whatever. But luckily they didn't find mine in my suitcase, so it's fine. And then, yeah, it's all good.
Oof.
Yeah. I know, right? It's crazy. And so I was taken to this detention center, and we weren't allowed. So they kind of didn't give us any idea of what's happening, and we were there for about 5 hours. So this got to about 1 a.m. And then they were like, okay, we're going to have to, if you want to sleep in the cell, basically, we're going to have to take all of your possessions off you, your phone, your bag, everything. So they like ziplocked the bag. They said, what's in here? You've got to describe everything. Ziplocked it, took your phone away and put it away. So I actually had to ring my mum and dad and be like, okay, you're not going to be able to contact me for a while because I'm going into a cell.
That's scary.
Yeah, so I slept in the room for like just a normal sleep, and then I woke up in the morning after about 4 hours because I couldn't sleep very well, obviously. And I was like banging on the window, sort of, let me out, I want to speak to somebody. And the only way that you can speak to somebody is like you press a buzzer on the side of the door, and that's when you're allowed out of the room. So I kept buzzing and was like, I want to speak to somebody, I want to speak to somebody. And luckily the manager arrived and I got chatting to him and I was allowed out and I got my phone, fortunately, because there were still people stuck inside the room and they weren't allowed out. So I was allowed out, I got some food, breakfast, but you had to be escorted to the airport place, to the airport cafeteria to go and buy food.
And you have to buy the food with your own money.
Yeah, you had to buy it. Yeah.
Mad thing.
Call me old-fashioned, but I think the better way to get out of these situations is to get a poster and tunnel through. Though you've seen Shawshank Redemption.
I was thinking of in my back pocket was a little plastic spoon, and I was like, right, okay, if I start now.
That's literally okay. Can I just stop you there? So they took away all your belongings, no Wi-Fi. You're stuck in one room, no communication with the outside world. You have to be summoned to go eat, and not only that, you have to go pay for the food that you're eating. You're worse than prison. At least prison, the food's free.
Yeah, I mean there is that.
But Island.
Eventually, I found out it was free, but they have to order it. I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't the best.
So, prison.
Prison, basically.
I'm sorry, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you could actually get Morgan Freeman to narrate your whole story, and
I've contacted him. Yeah, he's gonna do it. Yeah,
he's gonna do it.
You're gonna be played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
I'm honored. Thank you.
No, you're gonna be played by the actor that played Malfoy in Harry Potter.
Piss off.
So I had to use that in
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh yeah, he had to. Anyway, so I actually have a question for Charlie, and it's in regard to the internship at the Seychelles. Like,
Yeah.
how do you focus when you're, I mean, at least for me, like when I see water that's like, so much more clear than my goals in life, I will not be able to work. Like, generally.
um,
So, yeah.
it's quite tough, to be fair, but I mean, like Jonathan said, I've worked in Ibiza. I'm fortunate enough to have worked in nice places, and I know that where I want to work is in resorts because they're the
Right.
most. So for me, they're the most fun because people go on there to be on holiday. They don't go there for business. They don't go there for passing through for a few days. They go there for a week, 2 weeks, even a month. So you get to know people off by heart, and you're able, like when you're at work, you do your 8 hours, your 9 hours, your 10 hours, however long the shift is, and then you can go to the beach, and it's nice, and it's only like a 2-minute walk from the beach. So you're able to kind of, when you're at work, you work, and then as soon as you're off, just do whatever you want.
Change your clothes and walk across the office.
literally. You're able to use the same beach as the guests. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that actually, did anybody attend the webinar last night?
I was seriously considering it, but I started eating and I forgot. That's a true story. That's not. I genuinely started eating and I forgot. Like.
Okay, but anyways,
what webinar?
The webinar is leading hospitality through turbulent times.
Oh, through turbulent times. Yeah, I've signed up for that. So
it was quite interesting, and it made it. What you just said inspired me a bit because they said the fastest growing markets after the coronavirus. So like the markets that will recover first are mid-scale to economy class hotels, domestic traveling, as well as very small boutique resorts, because there's so much pent up demand. I mean, you take a survey with anybody right now, and everyone's like, I want to go out as soon as lockdown's over.
Yeah.
So, and what they noticed, especially in China, so the trends are showing in China that the small luxury boutique hotels, like resort type things, are recovering already. They're like 50% occupancy actually, which is horrible, but for right now it's good, eh?
Yeah, I think it makes sense because like after this whole thing is over, if you want to go travel, then would you rather pick like a city center and a 5-star in a city with like packed people, or would you want to like isolate yourself, go to a resort while still maintaining
exactly.
that
That was the whole idea, yeah.
Exactly.
And if you're also thinking about internships, because there was a question in the webinar concerning internships and like how can I find a job after I graduate, or how can I find an internship to make up so I can pass La Roche. A lot, he said, try to cater to those markets, because those markets are really gonna be blooming faster than, let's say, a hotel that's only focused on group events and business occupancy. Those hotels are going to be growing a lot slower. Trust is going to take a lot of time to form. Meanwhile, the pent-up demand from the public, this is going to explode into domestic travel, number one, and number two, the very like boutique high-end resorts, because it's isolated, and again, it's standard stuff. So I think you do great. I can totally see you as a GM of a small resort boutique, very, very upscale. I can see you and like Benjamin sitting on the patio with the Negronis.
Me just doing all the work and he's just chilling, just with like a martini.
Yeah, like a martini.
That's gonna be a good episode, though. The one that we're planning to do with Benjamin.
Yeah, we're planning to do an episode with OBS. You're familiar with OBS, right, Charlie?
Oh wow, nice.
What do you think of their stuff? I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's super good. And especially because at the minute I'm doing kind of what they're doing with cocktails, just trying to enjoy a bit of quarantine and try out stuff. And I think it's a good thing. Well done, guys, if you're listening.
Yeah. Okay, I live in a fucking country, so I don't get no alcohol, unfortunately.
Wait, you're in Brunei,
why?
right?
I live in Brunei, man. Welcome to Prohibition.
Wait, so you're not allowed alcohol?
Yeah, there's no sale of alcohol, and the import of alcohol is illegal. Trust me,
for any age? 18, 21, whatever?
No bloody age, fam. Any age.
Oh my God.
Import of alcohol is not illegal. It's heavily regulated. Let's put it that way. So I can't go down to the 7-Eleven and buy a beer, basically.
Okay, then I count my blessings.
If I want like a bottle of good alcohol, and right now it's even harder because of Corona, but let's say back in the day, back when I was in high school, if I wanted a bottle of good like gin or something like that, I have to call someone called the fucking milkman or something like that. And then
No way.
Yeah, so it's like really underground, like America in the 1920s type shit. Not fun.
Okay. Wow.
Hey, but I have fucking great coffee. I'll tell you that much. I've been because I'm really into that bar like drink culture. So I'm doing the other end of that, which is practicing my coffee making.
Mm-hmm.
Cold brews.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Goes a long way. Goes a long way.
Have you done the classic quarantine coffee, which has got like cream on top? It's like I think it's South Korean.
Dalgona?
The Dalgona, the TikTok coffee.
The TikTok coffee.
Oh.
Please say you haven't.
I have not. I'm not a fan of coffee with a lot of milk.
Good.
Because that's not coffee with milk. That's milk with coffee. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
You don't really savor. Plus, it's made with instant coffee. Who the fuck drinks instant coffee, man? If you drink instant coffee at a table with me, if we're at Roots and you drink instant coffee, I get up and leave. Like, I don't want to do business with you. Like, this is not funny. This is not a joke, boys.
Anyway, Charlie. Okay, so tell us where you are right now, geographically, and what you've been doing while you've been there.
Okay, so since I got back, my parents obviously had to leave South Africa as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed at some friend's house for a while, sort of in isolation, quarantine, whatever. And then we found a new home here in Kendal, which is in Cumbria, which is in the very north of the UK. It's our national park, one of our national parks. So it's just countryside, basically. I'm in a town, but it's countryside, yeah. So it's I'm beginning to really love quarantine, basically, because they're just going for walks.
Yeah, it looks so
drinking.
beautiful, like when you're putting it on your story and stuff like
just
that.
with my parents. Yeah.
Wait, so what type of cocktails you doing in quarantine? I'm interested.
It's okay.
Straight alcohol. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so it's espresso martinis, your whiskey sours, porn star martini, like things which are kind of your classic, most common ones. But then we've also ordered a lot of wine, so that's nice to drink nice wine.
That's good. Yeah.
And at the minute, I'm drinking disinfectant from Trump's orders. So,
oh my God! Don't even get me started, man. I don't want to go there. Oh, because this will become a 3-hour-long podcast if we start ranting about Trump.
If we start, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I don't want to.
It's not political, so we'll stop that.
Yeah.
We're just here to have a bit of fun, catch up as friends. We're not here.
Yeah, but how are you guys?
Speaking of fun,
are you actually
I would like
quarantine?
Yeah, actually, I'm loving it. Like, I've gotten used to my room now, so every time my mom drags me out, I just walk back slowly into the room because I can't. Like, I self-isolated for 14 days, and like this room was all I saw for 14 days, and it's so tough to like go out and like say hello to people and then not come back in. I can't do that.
Thing is, I love how you say this room, and all I can see is Bluche, like Bunch, and then Jonathan's face.
No. Okay, here's a fun fact. I actually I haven't been living alone for the past couple of days. My friend has been living with me.
Oh no! Don't do it, man. Oh my God.
What? Oh, nice. Yeah,
there's one more you can see.
There's one more you haven't seen.
I am hiding from you. Ayan, I think you should come out with the truth.
Okay, I should come out with the truth. Okay, Charlie. This was done shortly before we called you, and yeah.
Nice, thank you. There we go.
What a good-looking lad. Look at that.
Look at that.
Man, I did a bit of stalking actually. Don't fucking judge me, but I did a bit of stalking. Your Instagram page is fire, bro. As someone who takes care of my Instagram page, your Instagram page is it's pretty good, huh? You do a lot of traveling. Aesthetic, yeah. It's it's not so much aesthetic. There's a lot of pretty girls on there.
Okay,
So you can either have an aesthetic page like mine or have a lot of pretty girls. Charlie, man, you're doing well for
I'm
yourself.
very lucky. That's all I'm going to say. Ibiza treated me well. I liked it.
Dude, I'm telling. Hey, we should do a trip. We should do a trip to Ibiza, actually. No, jokes aside.
Yeah, well, I mean, funny you say that. I'm kind of planning something at the minute, which is I can't give too much away because obviously at the minute we're not sure how coronavirus is going to go.
Of course.
But there's a few people who are helping me organize that. So if you're watching this, then thank you. We're going to be putting things on social media, hopefully in like a month or two. So that'll be cool. So,
so this is some advertising for whatever you're trying to plan.
I mean, I've got to get it in there.
Yeah, that's how you should look at it. Eh? But what I wanted to ask again was that when you got out of quarantine, I wanted to know what your parents' reaction was. Were you updating them the whole time about what was going on?
Yes. Yeah. So they were helping me get out of prison because we have friends in UK Parliament, and they were able to kind of help me get out of the situation with the British consulate. So they were sort of phoning friends from the embassy in South Africa and ringing people in high places to try and help me get out of the situation. And my parents were like super worried, obviously, because I said I was in a detention center and they had no idea what it was like. But I didn't want to tell them too much at the time because my mom just worries so much, probably like your parents.
Yeah, so we're Asian, so it's double.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like that then. So I didn't want that to happen. So they were, unfortunately, actually, that we had those contacts because those people then rang my parents and were like, okay, you need to get out of South Africa, like ASAP, go back to the UK. And if we hadn't have, like, things obviously went a bit shit, to be frank, with everything that happened, but only in the space of like 3 or 4 days, maybe a week max. And then everything kind of settled down and now we're in the UK, we're enjoying life. And you kind of got to look at the positives of everything and be grateful for things could have been worse. There are stories and people watching this might have worse stories.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
But yours is up there, man. Not the time to be modest. You went to jail, my guy. Don't put it any other way.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice.
It was an experience, you know. You learned.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that when I walked in, there was like scratches on the walls of people's names, and I was like, I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die. It
was nice knowing you.
You know what? They gave me a bar of soap, and I was like, please don't drop it. Don't drop it. Please don't drop it.
God,
because I'm never going back.
There was actually writings on the wall?
Yeah. So in the room, so you go in and there's bunk beds. There's like 12 bunk beds or whatever. There's the buzzer to speak to the officer. And then there's communal showers at the end.
Oh my God, communal meaning shared?
Yeah. And then...
CDV, just gonna drop that in there.
Yeah.
No comment.
I'm not going to talk too much about that. And then on the wall above the entrance, there's the rules, which is no fighting, no swearing at the guards, and like stuff like that, like crazy rules. And then there was like people had scratched names on the wall, and I was like, I'm gonna die.
It was South Africa. That could have been like a Gandhi was here scratched on the wall.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name from?
I think Nelson Mandela was there.
Nelson Mandela. I was gonna say that you see Nelson Mandela's name on the wall, like goddamn.
Yeah. Well, it was Johannesburg as well, not even Cape Town. Like Johannesburg is the most like. It's just crazy. So I'm glad I'm fine. Things could have been worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you saw writings on the wall. I'm just gonna leave that. Like in the end of story period. Like
these weren't the writings Sam Smith sang about.
The plastic spoon that I talked about, that was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as a Chinese Asian guy, I have like I think it's a genetic fear of communal showers, for obvious reasons.
Growing up in a British boarding school and going to things like that, I'm kind of used to them, so it's fine.
Ah, fair. What do you, man? For those of you who don't know, I was texting Charlie before this, and I was saying you should get a drink on camera. So, what are you drinking, Charlie?
Well, we were talking about that, and I joked that I should have a beer or a glass of wine or even a Corona we've got in the fridge. But it's not even 12 o'clock, so I think I'll leave it for a couple of hours. So I'm just on water.
You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
I know, and that's one of OBS's things. But
yes, I'm gonna make that my life fucking motto.
Yeah.
What if they get it patented? Like, what if they get that line, commercialized? You won't be able to use it.
Yeah, exactly. They could get it. They could brand it, and they own it. You know.
It's okay. I'm close with the folks. I'm close with the founders. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not gonna use it as a trademark. Are you kidding me? That's theirs. But I'm gonna need both you and Ayan to drink on my behalf because I'm stuck here, man. So.
Yeah, I'm having a beautiful mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's perfect for a sunny day, which we haven't been having recently. It's been raining.
Yeah, what are you guys' weather like?
Ayan?
So usually this time of year it gets a bit hot, like 30, 35 degrees, sometimes maybe 36, 37. But over the last couple of days, it's been like thunderstorms and windy. So a bit like
do you get clear blue or not?
I haven't seen clear blue in like maybe 3-4 days. 3-4 days has been like gloomy, like London weather. Sort of gloomy, yeah.
Yeah, bit shit.
The weather where I am is okay. When I was younger, I started to hate the heat because I grew up here, and it's like average 32, 33 degrees on a very bad day. On a good day, it could be 29 degrees, and it's a hot, humid, very sunny, like medium clouds type weather. But coming from Switzerland, this is heaven.
Yeah.
Like every day, the sun, it like barely rains. No snow. I hate snow at this point.
You go to the wrong uni.
Yeah, I know, because I never touched snow before I went to La Roche, so I didn't know what I was in for.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
like we used to get Asians.
I get the same reaction.
And when it snowed, they'd be like, "What is this?"
Yeah, bro, that's the best thing since cut bread. Like, but it was good.
It's sliced bread.
Dude, I put my own twist on everything. Don't worry about it, man. I was cool with it for the first week, and then I slipped, and then I slipped again, and then I slipped again.
Yeah, you used to slip a lot. Yeah.
Oh my god, the slip! Remember, we were going the routes, and I was walking down, and then I was like, "Hey, Charlie, how was the slips?" Like, how did you even know about this? Like, I heard you slip, man.
Oh
like,
yeah.
The slips are hard. The slips are hard. It's black ice and it's concrete. It's not fun.
Yeah, you need to be prepared. Yeah. Also, Ayan, I love how your IPL shirt, you've actually got a bit of the green screen on you.
Yeah, I know, because of it's not it's the Indian jersey. It's not IPL.
It's the Indian jersey.
Yeah, but I'm repping Browntown today.
Browntown.
Browntown, baby.
I can say that.
He can rep that now. He's no longer controlled by the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they were the good old days, you know.
Yeah.
When we had good
in Asian culture, at least where I'm from, dark skins actually look down upon. But that's okay. First of all, I like caramel. I think caramel is the best skin color, which is why I'm glad to see the sun in it. But it's looked down upon because if you have like dark skin, you're seen as the worker class. Like you're out in the sun all day working hard. And if you have light skin, you're seen as like upper class because like you're doing office work and whatever. So there's a bit of like internal racism going on. I don't know whether you have the same thing in India. Do you have the same thing in India, yeah?
Yeah, we kind of do. And that way our politicians are pretty messed up in the head because like in the constitution, there's that thing of like, equality and shit like that. But then we've had politicians say racist stuff without knowing that they're being racist. But like hardcore racist stuff about their own country. Yeah. So But I just love it when like like I start cracking Indian brown jokes around Europeans, they get so uncomfortable. It's the
Oh
most
my god, yeah.
hilarious thing. So
Dude, it
yeah.
is. I don't understand it either. It's like I'm making
Yeah.
fun of myself. How
Yeah,
do you
why are
feel
you getting
about that?
uncomfortable?
Self-deprecating humor is the best.
Dude,
It
that's
is.
the
Oh my God.
basis of the British humor, to be honest. That's the difference between
That's
American and British humor.
that's the base of my
That's
personality. Like I'm not joking. That's genuinely the base of my personality.
That says a lot about your personality.
Not much, but yeah, sure.
There we go. That was a good joke, actually.
I really want to change this background right now. At this point, I'm getting bored of the Bluche bunch. Like,
Yeah, and it's not even. It's like no, it just says bleu bunch and then my face, like
yeah, because I'm
yeah.
covered
I'm
in
mainly
Bluche.
looking at your face actually. For
the Eiffel
obvious
Tower. Yeah, I
reasons.
understand.
Yeah.
France, big up français. If you
Big
vous
out
parlez
français.
français, au
Yeah.
revoir, bonjour à tous.
Oh
what else?
wow. How's the weather in Paris?
In Paris, it's right now it's beautiful. It's honestly it's clear blue sky as you can see. I pointed the wrong direction. No, because like it's mirrored, right? So
Nice.
if I'm pointing right, it shows left. If I go left, it shows right. But yeah, that's
Nice.
again somewhere there.
Part 2. Yo, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, this podcast would be amazing when we're back in Bluche because we have alcohol.
Yeah. I mean,
It's gonna be
I mean, both Ayan and I both have plenty. It's just you.
yeah.
It's just me. I need you to get fucking blasted every episode from now on.
Okay, cool deal.
Okay.
There's not gonna be a
Fine.
fight there. Okay,
I'm
cool. I
down.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're down. You can join too, Charlie. You just in the corner, just sipping your.
I mean,
Drink a shot.
I'm down to drink anytime. I'm British, so
You know, we could every podcast like towards the end, the last 5-10 minutes, we could just get Charlie on. Like, Charlie, what are you drinking today? Today I'm having a whiskey sour. Okay, cool. And then we end
And then
it.
like
And then
just
I
log
just
him off.
leave.
Just get leave.
or even that, I'm just muted, just in the corner, just
Yeah.
You could be doing your own thing. You could be like ironing
That's pretty
clothes, some
funny.
shit like that.
who irons in quarantine? Nobody.
Well played. You got me there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I don't iron in quarantine. To be honest with you, no, you're not going out to see anyone anyway.
But do you know what I find crazy at the minute is how each country, and I'm not sure whether I should be annoyed or like happy about it, but how each country is dealing with this so differently. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I feel the UK is dealing with it so poorly. Like, apparently we're going to have social distancing measures until December. And it's like, I see some countries, like I saw Vietnam, they're coming out of quarantine, out of lockdown. And I'm like, how is this? I just don't know what to make of it. I'm like, it's just crazy.
What's the actual policy though?
Where? In the UK?
In the UK, what are they doing? What's their efforts to stop the corona?
So at the minute, you're supposed to sort of isolate in your house, but you're allowed to go out for walks. You're allowed to go out more than once or twice a day. You can go for as long as you want. So yesterday, we went for like a 6-hour walk. But because it's in the country, nobody's there, so it's fine.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like you can avoid people, but the thing is that because these laws aren't that strict, you get the idiots in certain big cities, and especially places like London, where they just don't pay any attention to it, and that's why it's carrying on and carrying on.
Yeah, I mean, I think every
there's
country
no
that
social
like
distancing.
the other people are like like the WHO is talking about other countries and saying whether these countries have dealt with the situation well or not. And like if they've said that the countries dealt with it well, and then you ask the people from the country, they'll be like, no, I don't think, because there's always that thing from like when you ask the person from the country, like right now,
Yeah.
Modi got rated the guy who's handling the situation like one of the best, but if you ask us, we're like, no, but sure.
He doesn't want to get shot. That fucker.
Yeah, no, okay. We have windows here, and I'm not sure when the lasers will come right here, and like it's pretty much.
At least
I think
it's not China.
Yeah. Yo, but China is recovering very fast. I think it's because they have certain let's say, I'm trying to choose my words so carefully right now. You have no idea. China has certain, let's say, liberties when it comes to passing policies.
Okay, Jonathan.
That allows them to be
Jonathan.
very
We're gonna
fast.
pause the recording. You want to say it, frame it, and then I'm gonna resume the recording again.
No, it's fine. I'm eloquent. I'm eloquent with the words.
Okay,
I can
cool,
do this.
cool,
Wait,
cool,
let me. This is a challenge, actually. This is fun. So China has certain liberties when it comes to passing policies that other countries don't have due to certain reasons or others, and this allows them to pass policies very fast and enforce them in a very what's a very soft word for strict?
Effective, I think. Effective is the best
word. Effective manner. So shout out to China. Yo, in times of crisis, it works. In US, with democracy and everything, things are too slow. But in times of crisis, it works, huh? So
I think it was working till the time you said shout out to China.
Shout out to China. Kind of ruined the political rant. Yo, shout out to China.
Yo, big up.
But I feel, on that note, I kind of feel that, and this is my opinion, so I'm just going to say it freely.
Yeah.
That I feel most of the Eastern and Asian countries are dealing with it possibly more effectively because a lot of their people maybe even like fear the government. So a lot of these countries, like the government can take these drastic measures which Western countries like the UK, we could never do. And that's why it is being effective in these countries because like people don't want to go against it. Whereas in the UK, you get people like, oh, I don't care if the police tell me off. I don't care if people.
There's a more rebellious culture almost.
Yeah.
Have you seen like Wicked Skegmen? Like those guys don't care that there's laws.
Who, Stormzy?
I mean, I haven't, but.
Have you? No, let's put it this way: Chinese culture is quite reserved, and I think everyone can agree. Like relatively reserved compared to other cultures. I'm not being racist. I'm stating something.
No, that's a fact.
Like, have you ever seen a Chinese activist in America? You don't see no fucking Chinese activists. They're too busy doing homework. Like they're like.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and change my background because I'm done with this planet at this point. So.
But what I'm saying is that we're like a really reserved culture. So yeah, yes, there's an element of fear. I'm not gonna say that there's no element of fear when it comes to like Asian governments, but there's also an element of like we don't really care. You change the law, it doesn't really affect me or my business. I can go on as usual, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just accept it. In Hokkien, there's a saying like Hokkien. It's like, what am I gonna do about it? You might as well just live with it. It's an Asian saying. Where I come from. So I think we have that like attitude, like, okay, what we're gonna do about it? Let's not go out and start a fight. That's not productive kind of attitude.
Yeah, I feel it's more kind of just mediated. They're kind of like I don't know.
You try not to use the word
I agree.
You try not to use the word like passive.
No, more peaceful, I think.
Yeah, there we go. We got the Buddha at the time for that.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel in Europe we've had so many wars, it's unbelievable, and more recent than in the East. So yeah. This has turned into a very philosophical.
Yeah. Before this conversation becomes a bit more political and gets us into trouble, I'm gonna say thank you so much, Charlie. This has been
thanks so much.
Thank you.
It's actually been a very enjoyable episode.
This has been like a bit more insightful, into like a bit like a European experience, like from him to like from South Africa all the way from Africa to like back how he got back to the UK. This has been an eye opener, I think, for me at least.
Thank you very much. That's very kind words, I am.
Oh yes, the sweetest. So I'm gonna say bye bye. Okay, this has been
Thank you very much.
Good episode.
Good luck with the rest.